Say live here in a second. Okay, we are live with the Health, Love, Life, and Adventure show, and I'm Coach Arnie, and we're going to have a special show tonight, and with a great guest. Don't forget to follow me on the different social media. You can also call or text me with questions. You can email me, Arnie Fonseca Jr. at gmail.com. Would love to talk to you. And tonight we're going to talk about the Grand Canyon again, and we're also going to talk about fitness and health and wellness and some good stuff, because I need to learn some stuff as well from this young lady. But my guest tonight is Kim Levinsky, and I want to say, are you from New Jersey?
Yes.
New Jersey, but you went to school in Ohio?
Yeah, I did graduate work in Ohio, and undergrad was Massachusetts, about north of Boston.
So where are you from? Where are you from?
New Jersey. Yep, I grew up in New Jersey. Yep.
Okay, and now you've got an education degree?
Yes, master's in ed, and undergrad is in digital communication and sports studies. Which is
why you can make those cool videos you made.
Yes, using that degree.
I know. I'm thinking that's the thing I can't do. That's what Cece's going to help me with at some point. But so that was a cool video you made in the Grand Canyon group. And the fact that we were just talking here, the fact that and I've got a bunch of we'll circle back here, but this young lady here, and she'll tell us more about herself. And I say young because I'm probably 30 years older than you, but she soloed a rim to rim to rim, and I believe it was your first time.
Yes. Yep. First
time solo in the Grand Canyon, and which is phenomenal. People don't think it's not just we'll call it 50 miles. I mean, I loved how you're kind of playing with that and the fact that you went from the market because of the bridge situation. I remember Silver Bridge, they're doing out work. So you went from the market to Bright Angel. And if you could have parked at Bright Angel, well, then you would have had, did you debate parking at Bright Angel Trailhead?
I did, but I always knew there was a possibility I wouldn't make the shuttle at,
so you're trying to
South
cut
Kaibab, which is what did end up happening. So that would have been, really depressing, because then it's about 7 miles.
No, I know. And were you determined to do Bright Angel and South Kaibab? Do both since you were there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because you could have gone visitor center and then gone Kaibab as well.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
That would have been the shortest option, I believe.
Right, and that's what I've done that lately without transportation in the park, or we, well, either way. But or you could have gone in. Could have gone obviously Bright Angel. Well, no, you couldn't have gone Bright Angel because of the bridge situation. So you, for a first time person who obviously listened to a few people that did it, probably watched some videos, right?
Totally. Oh yeah. All over YouTube.
All over YouTube. And then you just did it. I'm so impressed. I really am so impressed. I had to talk to you. That's why I reached out to you. I got to talk to this lady. So we'll come back to the Grand Canyon. But I want to know a little bit more about Kim Levinsky, you're a coach, you're a trainer, you're an athlete. So when you were have you always been an athlete? What did you compete in high school and college? What was your deal?
Yeah, I grew up playing sports, always loved athletics. My parents encouraged me and my siblings, to do multiple sports, which I'm a big advocate of for kids today, not to specialize in one thing, but to try a lot of different things.
Like it used to be.
Yes, I grew up playing a lot of softball, a lot of basketball, and that's what I played in college. I went to a Division III school. I was able to play 2 sports and had a great time, good career, and afterwards just had a really strong desire to continue coaching, to stay in athletics. And I learned about an opportunity to do a graduate assistant position, which means you're basically working full-time as a coach, but then the school is compensating you a very small stipend, but they're paying for your graduate degree. So that's what I did. I got my master's through coaching, and then the school offered me a job full-time after that. And so I ended up staying in Ohio for 6 years, working at that Division II university.
Wow. It's interesting. I tell people, I'm an exercise physiologist. So I and I used to I've coached football, wrestling, baseball, everything. And I used to tell a lot of kids, sometimes you're better off going to a Division III school because you can play, and then you develop a love for sports instead of getting burned out and hating it and then getting away from it because you got to play at a division, whereas Division II or the big time, you sit for 4 years, and then you just want to get out because you hate it. But you got to play, and then you stayed and coached, and you developed this love that you already had anyways, and now you wanted to give back to these kids. And when I saw on your website you were doing some fun things with kids and everything as you're developing your kind of your brand and what you're going to do. So why don't you take a couple minutes, Kim, and tell us about what is Sasquad trail running? What is that all about? Because there's a lot in there.
Yeah. So Sasquatch Trail Running is the trail racing company I'm the owner and race director for. We started out in 2018. It was always a dream of mine to put on trail races. I'm a big trail runner, love doing ultra marathons. And, I shared that dream with a few of my running friends, and they said, well, why don't you put on a race? And I said, I don't know, why not? Let's do it. And so I had some really great support from those friends, and we organized in the trail running world, there's something called a fat ass race. So it's a free event. There's no swag, no registration fee, no aid. You just show up to the race and you run. And so that was the first event that we did in 2018, and 100 people showed up to run. And it took off after that because the runners were asking, when's your next race? We would love to have more races in New Jersey to come to. And so I talked with those friends who are really supporting me, and they said, there's something here. It seems like we're really meeting a need in the trail running community. And it spiraled after that. Now we're up to one race every month, and I'm doing it full time. And it's just been amazing. I've met the most amazing people through trail running. I'm sure that the hiking and trail running community it's a really neat niche of people. Very, very welcoming, supportive.
Yeah.
And our group in particular, just the community that's been built over the last few years is really something neat. It's special.
I've done everything from road racing to triathlons all the way down to trail running. I use this hierarchy of personalities, and at the low end of the totem pole are trail runners, because we're the most laid back, easygoing, loving people. We don't care. We just like having a good time and running, and it's not that big a deal. Right. Whereas at the top you have, I put the road racers at the top because they're kind of a little bit uptight about life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Probably triathletes are.
Yeah, they're right next to them. Right in there. I've been there. So, have you ever heard of Viper running here in Arizona?
Yes. I'm very familiar with them. They just had the 250, right?
Yeah, Cocodona.
Yeah.
So have you ever reached out to Jamil at all?
No, I haven't. I would love to get out there for one of their events. They do a really great job.
Here's what because I know Jamil. I mean, Jamil kind of got me started in this. As I came back into it, I had no idea this stuff was even around, because I did a triathlon with my son-in-law in 2012 because I had kind of semi-retired. He convinced me to do his first triathlon. And since he's done 3 Ironman, and he's done a couple times at the Canyon with me, and the Canyon manhandled him a couple times.
Oh boy.
But but he, that's why I always tell you, it doesn't matter where you're at. The Canyon, you better respect the Canyon, because it will discipline you. And so, but my first ultra race that I found these weird, I go, what is this? I mean, people run more than a marathon?
Right.
Right. And I found these weird. So I did this 75K night run by my house. I said, this is kind of cool. It was an absolute nightmare and life changer for me.
Isn't that the best? That's a good combination.
It was everything. I went through the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual world of ultra running. It was, and that got me hooked. But Jamil, I started running with Jamil and a bunch of guys every Monday morning right by my house, literally a couple miles from my house. So I got to know, because he he lives very close to me, and got to know him really well and picked his brain about stuff. And I would just reach out to him, Kim, and when he's a really easygoing guy, pick his brain, because I mean, first of all, I don't see, because he's expanding, like he expanded to Colorado and stuff, and but man, you could do what he did here.
Yeah.
You could, because you're young, you've got energy, you're about his age, you're younger than he is, because he started when he was about your age.
Awesome.
And why not? I mean, you're in that whole, because they're starving back there for stuff. You got that whole area there in New Jersey and through there that you could do stuff.
Yeah. We're moving and shaking, so I think we're making some good progress.
He'd be somebody to pick his brain, because he's someone who started from scratch and is just moving ahead. Now he's, like he did the Cocodona 250, and he's like you, a trail runner. And but yeah, I think, but his background is a CPA. He's a CPA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
When he first started, he had super short hair, like a CPA.
Okay.
Now he's got hair down to his rear end,
Nice.
But his brother Nick who's faster. And I learned, Nick taught me my technique about how to run these ultras, which helped me shave off a lot of time off my second 100, which was, I walked the flats, I power hiked the hills, and I jogged the downhills.
Awesome. That sounds like a good strategy.
Well, it saves your hip flexors. So when you're at 90 miles, you can run.
It's awesome. Nice.
Yeah. I like to call it my old man technique, but a lot of younger guys are doing it now. And it's funny. It's something for you. I'd like to know your opinion on it, because Jamil used to call it that walking thing. And I guess he did Tahoe 200 last year. He had hardly done any preparation for it. And so he went up there and he goes, I think I'm going to just do this stupid walking thing that my brother keeps bugging me about. Because he was on the Ginger Man show. And Ginger Man goes, what is all this about? He goes, honestly, I just walked the first 100. And I felt stupid walking out there. But because I had a great race.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've got the time to do it. You've got 100 hours to get it done.
So, but it's a different strategy, unless you're Jim Walmsley or somebody that's very gifted in some of these guys. But so here you have this running company now. You're this young, energetic person with this infectious smile, right? And you've got people now that are sensing your energy. So where did this name Squatch come from?
Well, of course, it's inspired by Sasquatch, the legend.
I thought so.
Folklore. And basically, we just combined squad and Sasquatch and got Sasquad, because we want community to be, the most important aspect of our group. And so, squad has that all-encompassing, welcoming, I think, connotation. So we just, added the combo, and you can't ask for a better logo than Sasquatch. There's so much you can do with that, It's a universal symbol, I think.
So are you doing this solo, or do you have a team with you?
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who, I affectionately call them the dream team. So there's 3 other women who, behind the scenes, we have a group chat. We talk, daily about race planning and all that. So, I bounce every idea off of them. They're very good friends. We're very, very different from each other, which I found is to be, very important for, building a brand and a company, is to have, differing opinions. So I highly, highly value their opinion. So. And
you've got a store on your website where you've got your logo there, and you've got some items that you're selling. Now, you're not a nonprofit. You're a for-profit company.
No, for-profit. Yep.
Good. That's good. And then, so you've got the store going, right? So you're coming up with ideas to put in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then, so how do you market your, I really like what you're doing, because I was a PE teacher for 6 years. So I really like what you're doing with the kids, and especially post-COVID and all the craziness that some kids are still going through. How are you marketing that, and how are you getting the word out about Sasquad?
Yeah, for the races, so much of it is social media. A lot of it is, I found, at least in the running community, word of mouth goes so much farther than a paid advertisement. So, we work really hard to make every runner feel welcome and supported at our races. And, that more often than not leads to, them, if they're out running with a friend, they'll recommend, our race. They'll say, you got to check this out, check out this company or whatever. And then on social media too, people will post after the races. And, we really don't do a lot of advertising beyond our own social media accounts. And, the races are on ultrasignup.com,
right,
which, if you're a runner looking for an event, you're, doing a location specific search will come up. But yeah, I would say a lot of it is just word of mouth. A lot of it is through our social media, just posting and trying to, keep people engaged.
Are you trying to have, and I know your philosophy is a lot like mine, because I grew up in a time where we played every sport, whatever time of year it was, whether it was basketball, softball, baseball, soccer, whatever ball was out there, we played. And,
right.
There was no specialization at all, really. And we didn't even know what that even meant. But are you doing things for the kids at these trail races as well?
We haven't jumped into kids specific. That was a topic we talked about last year, and then this past year looked very different for everybody.
Yeah.
But we do focus on making the events very family friendly, and I think we have a lot of families that'll come out to the races. One of the biggest goals over the last 4 years of building was to get more women out on the trails. And last year we had 56% women participation in our races, which is very high for ultra events, especially.
Yeah.
So, in hand with that, oftentimes women will come out with their families. And this last year, it's actually been great because of these wave starts we've had to do. We've had families who they've given us feedback saying, this is so great because my husband can run at 9 o'clock. I'll stay with the kid. And then 10 o'clock, the second wave, he takes the kid and I get to run.
Yeah.
So those are all things, moving forward, we're thinking about, how can we incorporate this? And, a lot of it, I've always said from the beginning, we're going to listen when runners say something. So that's really where the best ideas come from, is conversations after a race where runners will say, like, hey, have you ever thought of this? And for example, one runner came to me a couple of years ago and said, hey, have you ever thought about offering like a family discount? Because if you think about it, a family of 5 coming to a trail race that costs, let's just say $20 for the, sake of math, that's $100 for a family to go out for, half an hour or whatever. And I thought, that's a no-brainer. Let's offer, so now we offer 15% off for families doing 3 or more people. And so like I said, a lot of times some of these ideas, they're coming from the runners, and we just try to be really in tune to that.
So what are your distances? Are you doing are you keeping them short right now until are you having to get special permission? Because a lot of these cities don't allow you to have organized races within certain boundaries, and so you got to go outside the cities and get into more of the the rural areas. What are you running into back there in New Jersey?
Yeah, every park is different, but for the most part, we haven't had trouble getting permits approved. The races range. Our shortest event is a 5K. The longest we have is 50 miles or a 12-hour.
Wow.
So our race coming up at the end of June, it's called the Midnight Squatchapalooza, and it starts at midnight, and we offer a 12-hour distance. So they'll start running at 12 a.m. and go through the whole night and finish at 12 p.m., which is a lot of times, ultra runners are excited about that, because if they're training for 100, they're like, wow, this is a great opportunity to practice, running overnight.
That's when we're starting next Friday night I'm bringing some guy out from Wisconsin. It's his first ultra anything, and he's been training, but I'm still a little leery.
Okay.
So I don't want him to finish too much in the dark.
Okay.
So I've been edging back a little bit. I thought, midnight, and I'm thinking, why not 11 o'clock? So we're going to start at 11, and hopefully we're going to finish by 8 o'clock, maybe, because on your video where you missed the bus.
Yeah.
Because the cabs still aren't running yet until June, because I talked to transportation. So, but he said they run 1 hour post sunset.
Yes, correct.
And so I'm hoping with sunset's going to be around 7:45. So if we finish, we can catch that bus to get, because we're going to be parked at South Kaibab. We're going to park at South Kaibab.
Okay.
So if not, we're going to be alternate transportation with our thumbs, because
yeah. Hey, I would have done that if there was somebody in that parking lot. I would have asked for a ride. There just was nobody there.
I know a guy that I've been helping. He's going with a time goal. It always bothers me at the canyon, because the time goals set you up for failure.
Yeah,
unless you're a really highly trained athlete, because you know how that goes with that, especially trail running. So many variables with trail running, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
things happen, and especially if you're out there videotaping, and it's the Grand Canyon, you know, you stop, you talk to a ranger or somebody cool. I mean, oh, hurry! I got to beat my time by 5 minutes. I mean, it just kind of takes away the mystique of the canyon. Sure. So he's hoping to finish right about the same time that we are. So I'm thinking, man, this might work out just fine, because he can give us a ride over to South Kaibab. But and he would too. Hopefully, unless he's not, because he gets very emotional. I'm always talking to him on his YouTube channel. He gets very which sells.
Right.
It's like your video sold because of that big smile of yours.
Okay.
No, seriously. People saw that. They say, who's this awesome girl with this big smile soloing in the Grand Canyon? This is a cool story. And it is. It's really, no. That's good. That's the best thing you could have done for yourself. And so in his, he gets, because he's celebrating his 50th birthday. And I'm just hoping he does. I mean, I hope he does well. But either way, it doesn't. If he hits his time, then he'll be perfect for us to get to ride. Yeah. But so let me ask you a question here. Why the Grand Canyon? You're in New Jersey.
Yeah. The Grand Canyon has been on my bucket list for as long as I can remember. A couple of years ago, I went out to the Arizona area with my sister and a friend, and we did the Grand Circle Trail race. So you did a half marathon. Not in the park, but around Zion, around the Grand Canyon, and around Bryce.
You're the guy that was there.
Yeah, it was awesome, and we had one extra day, and said, let's go to the Grand Canyon, the North Rim. We couldn't see anything. It was white out, fog, literally no visibility, and it was a huge letdown, because I had always wanted, I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon and see it. And, I said that day, like, I have to come back. And I had a couple of friends who had done the rim to rim to rim, and thought, why not see the whole Grand Canyon in one shot? and it worked out. One of my close friends had just done the run 2 or 3 weeks prior to when I was going out. And so that was really helpful to get a lot of firsthand experience. She's like me. She went by herself. We're about, similar age. And so just talking, safety tips and gear talk and all that. So yeah, it was always a dream, to do rim to rim to rim, and to have the opportunity to do it was really, really awesome.
I want you to hold on to that thought. We're going to take just a little break here, and we'll come right back. Hold that thought. Okay.
All right.
All right, here we are. We are back with Kim Levinsky. She is a coach, a trainer, a trail runner, race director, and she's also a solo R3 Grand Canyon veteran now. And we're just having a little fun talk about all the things she does. And now I want to talk about, she explained the Grand Canyon, so she had to come back, and you hadn't even been below the rim yet.
No, not at all.
You haven't even felt the magic yet, and it was still pulling you down there. And then, so did you fly to Arizona? Or did you drive?
Flew out. So I was out there. It was actually Las Vegas. I have family out there, and my father and I went out to visit those family we haven't seen in a number of years. And I said I'm coming to visit, but I have to go to the Grand Canyon first, and then I'll come back.
Since the North Rim's not open, so you drove all the way down to the South Rim.
Yes.
And cool. All right, that makes better sense. And you slept in your car.
I did. Yes.
Good. I call that Coach Arnie Commando style.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you do it on the cheap. It was like $18 for the campground.
You go, girl.
Parking spot.
I just had a guy, my guy that I'm going with next week, just texted me. So when are we going to sleep? I almost said, you should hear the show I'm on right now. Then we'll talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, I know. But it's true. So good for you. So you get there, you sleep, you get up at whatever, 3 o'clock. Did you even know where any of the bathrooms were or anything, Kim?
I had my headlamp, so because I got there when it was dark. And
were the bathrooms open at Bright Angel?
Yes, they were.
Okay, because the last time I was there, they were closed. I think they opened everything up now.
Yes, yeah. Thankfully, they were. That was one of the things I was really pleasantly surprised. It was very easy to self-support on this run.
Wasn't it? It's
amazing.
Amazing.
There's so many restrooms.
Totally.
The water spigots all over the place. I had brought a filter bottle just as a backup, but I never got close to using it.
You don't even need it. No, you don't need it. And it's even better. Whereas, was North Rim water on when you went?
You're talking about at the top of the rim?
North Rim.
I didn't venture further than the trailhead. I just went and turned around.
No, it's right there. That thing you were standing next to.
I didn't even see it.
That's a water station. So
No.
It's a water station right there. On your video, you're standing right there. You could have reached back.
That's so funny. I think
that's what I'm saying. Look at this. This is amazing. I mean, if it had been a snake, it'd have bit you. But so you did that. You're cruising down. You're figuring, and I love your strategy. That's the coach in you and the athlete, because a lot of people will try to bomb those downhills and just wipe themselves out and destroy their quads, get their hips out of alignment, and before they know it, they got knee pain and they're crying. Yep. And they're the ones that you saw death marching out of there at Bright Angel.
Oh, I felt so bad. They were.
I know, but but they don't learn their lessons. They don't learn their lessons, and it's not, well, even if you did a lot of searching on YouTube, you're not going to see a lot of people, because everybody wants to be Jim Walmsley.
Yeah, right.
And it ain't going to happen. You've got to learn a strategy. I do a lot of specific things because I'm a strength athlete. I got into this from the strength side of it, not the running side of it.
Okay.
And so I'll develop things at the gym, like specific hopping movements, a lot of plyometric stuff to prepare for those downhill steps over those stupid logs, right?
Yeah.
Because that, after and you went down Bright Angel, coming down Kaibab's worse.
Is
because
it?
It's steep, it's a little steeper, it's shorter.
Yeah.
But you do 7 miles of that'll pound the living out of you, right?
Right.
It's just I like the North Rim. Compared to the South. I mean, there's something about the North Rim. Maybe it's just the beauty of it, and you got to see it, all of it in daylight. So sometimes the North Rim, the GPS can be a little wacky. But you didn't know anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Right,
You were just kind of you're going on feel, so it doesn't really matter. But it's so that was kind of cool. So you just you slept in your car, you winged it, You figured out where all the facilities were, and even if you didn't have any, because the last time I went, there were so many people there on a Saturday, I couldn't even use the restrooms. I had to go down to the the first one on South Kaibab to even use the bathroom. So I had to run down.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so many people. I said, I'm just going. And but there was 2 feet of snow on the North Rim when I went last time.
Oh man. Yeah. There was
So
only
when you were
little
standing, it was up to my hip.
oh man. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't experience it. Although at that point I was so hot from the climb, it would have
Oh, you would have had knowing you would have had a joy with that. Come on. You go, look at this. You have been playing out in the snow doing snow angels or something. I could see it. Either way, so now you're coming down and you've got a strategy, you got a plan. You're talking about it when you're doing your talk, and so you're thinking your way through this thing, even though you've never done it before, and which is beautiful the way you did that. The only thing you weren't sure was the time,
right?
And because at the North Rim you said, well, I should be able to finish in the daylight, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as you said that, I go, no, she's not. So when I got to the thing, because I mean, I've done it enough times, and I just know, and it's your first time, and stuff happens, and so,
right.
But that's okay. You still did great. I mean, who cares? So you get down to Phantom Ranch, and you're talking to rangers, which I love because they're so cool, and somebody hands you some freaking pizza.
Oh. I mean, could it get better than that? It was
what
like
the
a
heck,
miracle.
right?
It's like
That's
manna
amazing.
from heaven came down.
So did you have any problems with the red pepper flakes?
I mean, my mouth was on fire, but at that point, you wanted the calories. So
yeah, I mean, plus food bars, they drive me. I've gone through like this time. I always, every time I go when I'm not doing I'm training for a double in October, November this year.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so I'll be working, like I'm going again in June. Taking somebody, we're going to do a full moon. It's a full moon. So we'll start We'll start late afternoon. We'll go all night long with the full moon, and we'll finish early morning next day. But I'm always working on the nutrition aspect of it because I've gotten away from the bars thing. So I'm mostly now on a big one. I'll use things like Vespa. I won't use that this time, but mostly I'm using fruit like dates and honey and things like that, and just trying to figure things out all the time what works, because when it's hot down in the box, you got to be careful what you put in your stomach, because and people don't understand that either, and that's where some and at some point, man, I don't know how you are, but at some point you need chocolate, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you carry that in the
I know I figure out a way
weather.
somehow. Well, sometimes I'll find like a nut butter pack that's chocolate.
Okay.
It's not a chocolate, even though one time I was at Indian Gardens, and I was coming up. I think it was on when I did a 65 miler 2 years ago, and I was sitting there and I was watching some guy eat chocolate covered something. I wanted just to reach over there and grab his chocolate, just to grab a couple of pieces of chocolate, because you're right. Yeah, because of the melting and all that stuff. But yeah, because you have to go through your stomach. I mean, you're an experienced runner. You know what, but people that don't know what that is like. Right. And that's where they run into trouble with nutrition. And if you can't fuel right, or your stomach goes, I mean, I've had all these things happen down there, and you just got to manage it. You got to learn how to manage it. And some people, you're a coach, you're experienced, so you probably know how to manage things. A lot of people start to panic, and that makes it worse. And you just got to kind of work, just like getting a cramp. You work your way through it, manage it, do your best you can. Food is another thing, but you always have. That's why everything's about learning, tweaking, dialing things in, and which is why I love the way you did this, and that you were like learning on the go. It was amazing. And so you took the pizza, no problem, and you're coming up Kaibab. And when I was listening to you, I'm thinking, gosh, it's so fun. It's almost like working with a kid who doesn't know the limit.
You don't know what's coming.
You don't know what's coming. I go, she's going up Kaibab, and it's going, yeah, it's shorter. In your mind, all you're thinking to yourself was, it's shorter.
It's shorter. There's only like 3 miles left.
Yeah.
It should take an
and
hour.
most people will tell you, don't go up Kaibab because it's a lot. It's a killer. It's just a relentless climb.
It really was.
So what did you feel like when you're coming up Kaibab?
Well, I definitely, Kaibab and the North Rim, I was feeling the elevation, which was only like the second time I felt that at Bryce as well.
Really?
Once I was getting closer to, what is it? It's like 8,000 feet.
Yeah.
To the top.
Yeah. I can go into a whole dissertation on that, but we won't. But
okay.
I think that's more mental than anything. But you felt, because the North Rim's about 8,700, maybe 85.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
okay.
I could for sure feel it. I mean, I'm pretty in tune with,
Sure.
my legs, I've been training.
You felt something.
Yeah, it was just like I could feel my heart was beating harder. It was working a lot harder. But
it wasn't the 3,500 feet from Pump House to the top though.
I mean, that's a part of it, but it was like I don't know how to describe it other than it was beating very like hard.
So you're coming up Kaibab, which is pretty relentless, right?
Yeah. Pretty
relentless. And so what are you thinking as you're coming up Kaibab? What are you thinking? I'm
thinking like, surely I have to be getting closer to the top. And it just keeps switch back.
So when did I'm trying to remember from your video, when did the sun go down on you on Kaibab?
The sun went down maybe 40 minutes or so after I went over the bridge. I wasn't too far.
So you went most of it in the dark.
Most of it was in the dark. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't love night running, but I guess maybe just being so in the moment, I wasn't bothered by it. I felt, I wasn't anxious at all. Maybe I just didn't let myself think about it, but
you know what? I've become so in tune with night running because I've done it so many times now. I've come up Kaibab in the dark. I mean, I just did it last, whatever. But being the fact that you did that in the dark, relentless, without even knowing maybe it helped you, maybe not, because you were just bound and determined to finish. It didn't matter anyways.
Right.
But how did your legs feel? Were you like, did you ever get to that point where you're like, this is dumb? Can we just finish?
I think I was so happy that I've been having a little bit of IT band issues in April. And I think I was just so relieved that I wasn't having that. If you've ever had it before, it feels like there's just a nail going into the side of your knee. And I think I was just happy that I wasn't experiencing that. I mean, for sure, my legs were really tired. But it wasn't that like, oh, it just hurts to bend the knee. And so I was just laughing the whole time because my friend is a PT and she said, you have to do these band exercises. You have to do the band exercises. And, they worked. So I was happy.
Was she was she hitting your glute medius? Because that's usually what
just doing all the glute strengthening work.
Yeah, the glute medius is the key to that IT band problem.
So they work. Listen to your PT.
Yeah, good for her. I heard. Yeah, I used to own a couple of PT clinics, so good for you. And so here you come. You're coming up Kaibab. Your legs. So my thought process is, what did you do, Kim, to train for this adventure? What did you do?
I mentioned on the video, it's really hard to even get close. I mean, you just can't mimic the Grand Canyon. I don't know if there's a lot of places that you can, but definitely not in New Jersey. So, I mean, I'm currently training for the Tahoe 200 in September. Oh, wow. So this was a really great, this is part of the training for that. So I'm regularly doing, hill work, trying to get to, we have a ski slope that's about an hour from where I live, starting to get out there now that the skiing season's over. We can hike there. So just a lot of trying to get as much elevation as you can.
What's the vertical on that ski slope?
It climbs about 1,200 feet in 2 miles or so.
That's good. So you can get some repeats on that.
Yeah. Yep. So
I try to get. My goal is to get, because for the double, it's going to be around 22,000 elevation for the double. So I try to get between 20 and 25,000 every month.
Okay.
So every weekend I try to get a minimum of 5. If not, I mean, like last weekend I got 87.
Awesome.
But it's repeats, and
Yeah.
and it's just a lot of work. It's a grind.
Yeah, it's not really sexy, It's
No, it's
just
not.
doing the same thing over and over again.
When people say, "Hey, can I come out with you this weekend, Coach?" And I go, "Yeah, come on out." And they go, "Why are you doing this? This is crazy." I go, "Well, welcome to my world, right?" But so for the Tahoe, that's a big one. What's the elevation on Tahoe? What's the elevation gain on that?
Cumulative gain, I think, is around 40 or so.
Okay.
So spread
Are there
out.
some big ones in there? Are some big ones in there? Some big climbs?
There are. So again, I have a good friend who's done Tahoe before. He's doing the Triple Crown this year, and so we're training together. And he says,
that helps. You got somebody.
Yeah, this ski slope that we go to, he said it's the best type of training you could do.
Plus you're young. You got youth.
Well, yeah, there you go.
The best recovery drug in the world is youth.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I was watching some of that Cocodona this week, this 250. I'm thinking, because a guy, and I ran into this guy at a video with Kerry Ward, who's done Tahoe, and he does a lot of cool videos on YouTube. And this guy Dax was third at the Cocodona. He's a dancer. He's a ballroom dancer.
That's awesome.
He does the jitterbug and all that stuff. And he did San Jacinto in Palm Springs, and he did pretty well, And then the next thing I know, then I see him in the Cocodona, and he's on a live stream going. He's in third place. I said, "What in God's name is going on here?" And he hasn't done jack. You know what I'm saying? No, this is the God's honest truth, and so. I'm just in shock. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Why not? I mean, if I get to that point, because I was just kind of licking my chops, because right away my brain, because it's like the more times I do the canyon, Kim, it gets smaller.
Okay.
Because I know each little segment that's coming up. And I pretty much have it dialed in. It's going to take me X to get to here.
Okay.
And then it's going to take me X to get to here. And so you kind of just... It's going to, and if I want to sit and talk to somebody, well, that's 15 minutes that I'm either going to lose or I'm going to make up. 30 minutes here. So I don't really care at that point because I know what it is. And so that's the beauty of the canyon. And so when I was looking at that Cocodona thing, I'm thinking, you know what? You have 5 days or whatever it is. I think they have 5 days. And I go 50 miles a day. Yeah, I can walk 50 miles in whatever hours, and then just sleep the rest of the time and get up and walk another 50 miles. And for me, at my age, the only thing I'd have to be ready for is the recovery. It's all about the recovery. It's all about the recovery. And I'm thinking, why not? I'm thinking, at least, we'll see what happens. But plus, this was a hot week for those guys to do it too.
They a lot. I know the heat was tough for a lot of folks out there.
Well, I was getting a lot of questions. People were sending me questions. Hey, Arnie, why are all these guys, these really good runners, bailing after 30 miles? And I'm going, look, you guys don't understand ultra runners. First of all, they're not getting paid to do this. And if they are, Meal's not paying them a lot. Number two, they may have other things on their calendar they got to get ready for. Number three, they're not going to hurt themselves in a race like this. They're just if they don't feel it, they're out of here. Now, if Kim's doing it or Arnie's doing it, and we're training all year long, and we've paid lots of money to get here, we're in it.
You're going to get to the finish line.
we're finishing this thing. So these guys, they don't have to.
Right.
I've seen some of these top runners in these races, and they'll bail after 20K or 30K.
Right.
Like, what's going on? Hey, I don't feel it today. Okay.
Right. It's a different mentality,
Well, Kim, I want you to take the last couple minutes here. I mean, I could talk to you all day. You're amazing. I'm so impressed with you.
Oh, thank you.
Tell people a little bit more about how they can get a hold of you. Tell them about any other way that you want to share, any sites, any links, anything like that.
Sure. Yeah. Love to get in touch with you if you have specific questions about rim to rim to rim. I had some people reach out through YouTube and those groups that I posted the video on, and it's been fun. You know, it's fun to get to chat with people who are sharing their story, and I get to hear that. So feel free, you can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, Kim Levinsky. If you're interested in learning more about Sasquad, we're on social media as well, Sasquad Trail Running. The website is sasquadtrailrunning.com, and all my contact info is on there as well. So that might be the easiest way. If you want to hop on that website, you can reach out to me directly.
Awesome. Well, Kim, this video will be it's on Facebook in the Facebook group, and then it's on YouTube as well. So when you get that, you'll be able to share that with
Awesome.
your tribe as well. And boy, let's stay in contact. You're an amazing young lady, and I want to learn more about your training as well for the Tahoe 200, because that's an amazing event. So good for you on that, and I look forward to seeing your smiling face more often here in the ultra world. So good for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I appreciate you, kiddo. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.